firstdropmusic.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bear Cole. You're listening to From the First Drop podcast. Today, I've got Trask Snow, a.k.a. DJ Imiko, in the house. We're going to be talking about live streaming. All the things that we've learned so far as DJs and musicians, why live streaming is going to be important for the future of music. As all of you know, we were recently quarantined almost everywhere in the world, and it changed a lot about the industry that Trask and I work in. Both of us have been working on some live streaming DJ sets, but Trask recently threw a pretty large online streaming festival with multiple different acts, bands, DJs. It was all done for charity, and I think that was probably a very good learning experience. So today I'm just going to be picking his brain to learn a little bit more about that. We're going to jump into it. So, Trask, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, man. How about yourself?
Awesome. So, last year, as you know, Trask is actually one of the DJs that works for the multi-op that I'm a manager of. It's called Peaks Pro Event Services, and Trask and I have been working on events and weddings and everything for quite a while. Last year, I was involved in planning or throwing or performing at almost 500 events. I put that up close to the first of the year. And this year, I had a goal of reaching 500 events. As you are aware, all of a sudden, COVID hit, and we went down to absolutely 0 events. Right? So any of the stuff that we were doing at clubs, any of the stuff that we were doing for weddings, anything that we were performing live as artists or with bands, even doing live sound or working as a tech for anything corporate or band related, all gone. So I think people at that point, especially DJs, as I noticed, started saying, wow, I can't DJ anywhere. I got a live stream. I'm just going to get online, start playing some music, and do a DJ set. Did you notice the same thing with all of a sudden there was 2 billion DJs trying to go live everywhere?
Yes. And I was one of them. It was I had seen 1 or 2 DJs doing it, and then I threw up my first live stream. And then, like the next day I noticed that every DJ that I followed, DJs that I had known personally, everyone was trying to get on board with the same thing in live stream, because everyone missed that performance aspect and getting their music out in front of people and playing for crowds and connecting.
Yep, absolutely. And I think I also noticed that everybody started going live, but they were all trying to go live on Facebook or YouTube or different platforms, and everybody was getting shut down. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a cluster. So if I went to watch one of the DJs that I liked, it was almost about an 80% chance, maybe 90% chance, depending on the genre they play, that they were going to get shut down and then have to put it back up. So I think that's another thing with live streaming, that the industry all of a sudden had to adapt and say, holy cow, this is the only way that people can perform live right now. But we don't actually have anything set up for musicians or DJs that are playing covers or playing music that they don't have copyright for. And so it's been a pretty crazy world out there in the live streaming arena. And I think just finding out how to adapt, new companies coming up with new ways to stream has been awesome. And I'm pretty actually excited about the opportunities that live streaming is going to present. So in your experience from doing some live streams and doing the festival that you did recently, what were the pros of live streaming that, as when you compare it to actually going out and playing live and in clubs and weddings or in front of a crowd?
Right. Let's see. Pros for live streaming. Well, first off, other than the technical back end, The scheduling is a lot more flexible, which I thought was really nice. I didn't have to go play a set at 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning and then not go to bed till 6 a.m. I could go live in the middle of the evening when people are home from my own house, didn't have to drive to a bar, didn't have to drive to a venue. And that was really cool. That's probably one of the biggest pros, kind of selfish personal pros that I could think of. And then also the ability for reach, really, given that live streaming obviously happens on the internet instead of being at a club. Clubs and bars all have a capacity limit, and internet has no such thing. So instead of playing through, a max of, maybe 50 or 100 people or however many that can fit into the venue, if you're live streaming and the people share it outright, the promo's done right, you get enough viewers, you could have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people all viewing your stream at the same time, which is a really interesting opportunity in this area.
Yeah, from everywhere in the world too,
right.
which is cool. I personally experienced that. I'm throwing a live stream Pride event tomorrow, and I do always throw a little bit of money down on some Facebook advertising or some Google advertising when I throw an event. I jumped in, I started setting it up like I always do, and then realized, oh, I'm not trying to target within 50 miles of my home base here. I'm not looking for the cities and towns in the area that people might come from. I can advertise this thing anywhere that people would be interested in hearing a Pride set. So all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, let's throw a little bit into Europe. Let's throw a little bit into Canada. And that was pretty cool. And actually I've been watching the interest on Facebook from those advertisements. And there's a ton of people from the UK, Germany, Canada that are, clicking and saying they're interested or they're going to attend the stream. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, your chance of reaching people, especially for something like that, right? Like a charity event or something special like that, just went global, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Now, when it comes to that wider audience, that's awesome. One thing I've noticed, trying to be a realist about the whole thing, is that there are some definite cons right now as well to getting people to attend. And I kind of was sitting down thinking about it, taking some notes, and I've promoted a whole bunch of shows and concerts in my day.
Mm-hmm.
There was always that element of being able to get people to attend. When I simplified it down and said, okay, what does this actually come down to? What is a human interaction around going to a concert that really probably matters to people as much or more than the music? And I think that the conclusion I came to is that people came to my concerts because there was a chance that they were going to get laid. Right?
Yes, 100%.
And I think that there was people that came just to get that social interaction. You don't have that with live streaming. And
right.
I think that that's going to be a definite con. Another con that I've noticed is I'm a huge open format DJ. So I'm always reading the crowd and interacting with them. I never plan a set. I never kind of say, okay, here's what I'm going to do for this set. I just watch people. What are they doing? How many people are at the bar? Are they sitting around drinking? Is there a whole bunch of people dancing? What are they wearing? What age are they? I'm taking all that feedback from the crowd the entire time I'm DJing, and I'm using that to create my set. Whereas you just can't do that with live streaming. So I think it's really good for artists that are, pre-planned sets or specific genre DJs.
Mm-hmm.
But for open format DJs, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, right? Like I can come up with a cool set that I like. I just don't know what the feedback from the audience is, except for a little bit of chat here and there. So
right.
That's kind of a con too. What other cons have you noticed about live streaming or some issues that you ran into with the festival that you threw recently?
Right. Well, I think right now you just kind of touched on the biggest one, which is the lack of crowd interaction, being able to read a room, being able to get that feedback from the crowd, because we're as DJs, we're energy conduits, like the crowd has a certain energy. And what our job is as DJs is to feel that energy, to read that energy correctly, and then to kind of like to focus it almost like a radio antenna, and then broadcast it back out to the crowd. And that's something that we are really, really missing in the live stream area. And then another big con that we've already kind of touched on is sets being taken down. There's a whole lot of like back end copyright issues and all sorts of legalities that no one's quite figured out yet, because this is such a new area for us to all be moving into. So right now, I think honestly, like those might be the two biggest cons. I've also noticed that timing your live streams right is very difficult to get viewers, especially right now. People have, I don't want to say they've forgotten about live events or DJs or anything like that, but they have a lot of other stuff going on in their lives right now. And so if they see, a Facebook ad or something like that, or they see you make a post that says, hey, I'm going live in 2 days at 4 p.m. for a couple hours, it doesn't really, at least for me, it seems like it doesn't really stick in their head as a thing that they need to show up to. If they happen to be in front of their computer, when they see that you're going live, they might click on it, come in for a little bit. But a big con is just trying to get those people into the stream in the first place and create that event atmosphere where everyone's hanging out with each other.
Yeah, for sure. I think with the way that the world works these days, I was just thinking about it. My wife and I have had a couple shows that we get really into, right? So let's say we are going to watch a specific show that airs at a certain time every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We might have one show that we would kind of do. We're going to miss it some weeks, but now you have the opportunity to just catch it on Hulu or record it or whatever. The actual fact of being there while it's live has changed for even television or anything else in our society, I think. So the live aspect of it is awesome, but I think that one focus that I've had when I'm trying to figure out how to do all of this is, how can I take the content from what I did live so that all the people that didn't see it live can still enjoy it, right? So taking that, you perform that live set, but then you get that video stream and that audio, and you get it up on YouTube so anybody can watch it anytime, or you get it onto Mixcloud as a mix. But now we run into some of those copyright issues again, where it could be taken down because it's a DJ set. So finding the right way that you can get the most use out of that, because really, in all reality, unless I am a huge DJ, which I am not, I am not the 200,000 people coming to watch me live a couple days a week kind of DJ, then the chances of people just showing up at the exact time that the live stream is going on is much smaller, right? So I think that's totally true. So the reason I wanted to have you on, the biggest reason is that you recently threw a live stream festival. So it was a multiple day festival, multiple DJs, bands, different kind of performers. It was all to benefit homeless charity. It was for the Flagstaff Homeless Shelter, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. And that must have been quite an undertaking. When I started watching everything that you were doing for it, after throwing events and throwing shows, I was like, wow, this is a lot of work that he's putting into this to make this happen. So I just wanted to pick your brain and see what you learned from it, how it worked out. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea for the actual live stream festival?
Got it. So my girlfriend has a medical condition called EDS, which stands for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And I believe it was this last month was the National Awareness Week for that. And so she had kind of thrown together a little EDS awareness stream fest with some local artists and whatnot. And it seemed fun, as someone who had a background in events and stuff like that. I was watching her pull it off, and I kind of thought to myself, you know what, like, why can't I do that? Especially for all of my DJ and musician and artist friends who have nothing to do. They don't have a venue to perform at. They don't have a platform or much of a platform to reach people. How could I gather all of these people into one place? So yeah, I just kind of got the idea from seeing her doing it, and then thought that I could do it myself. So once I had made the decision that I wanted to move forward with that, I just kind of blasted out an invite to a few people and posted up a little thing online, and really wasn't expecting much interest in it because I'm also not a DJ that draws crowds of thousands of people. So I thought it was just going to be sort of like a small, fun little thing. And then as soon as I attached the charity aspect to it, the interest really just kind of snowballed. I think I went from 0 to almost 30 DJs and bands being confirmed in less than 48 hours, which was way, way more than I had originally anticipated. And so that's kind of what started that initial amount of interest from the artists who would be performing, is really kind of what started the transformation of the whole thing into a festival over multiple days, instead of, just like me streaming out a couple buddies' DJ sets for a couple hours on a weekend or something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you had all these artists that, of course, want to be a part of the event. They're missing being able to perform. And so they're contacting you saying that they wanted to be a part of the event, which is awesome, because if you're trying to raise money for a charity, then the more artists you have performing, the better. They all
Right.
have their own fan base that they're going to bring with them. So I think that is probably something that is good for everybody to look at. Now, with that many artists, do you think it was too much, or do you think it was about right?
Let's see. I think so. The final count of performances that we ended up streaming out, I believe, was 22 acts out of the original, I believe, 29 that had confirmed or showed quite a bit of interest at first. And I really think for the amount of time that I had to put the whole thing together from inception to where I wanted to stream it, because I was really trying to shoot for the first day of summer. I thought that was just a fun day and a fun weekend to hold the fest. So considering when I started it, when the thing had to be done, all the pieces that had to come together, I feel like that that 25-ish range of artists actually ended up being really good, because it allowed for a pretty uniform amount of music each day. And then it was also enough artists to where I could, I almost got to sort of DJ with the lineup, like I would receive performances, or I would have personal experiences with artists. And so I'd see my pool of performers that were going to be on the set. And I kind of started to go like, ooh, like these guys are super chill and vibey, we'll put them up front. And then, just kind of arrange it by energy level each day. So it was kind of fun to be able to bring the crowd reading, energy reading DJ aspect into the event organization side of the thing.
That's awesome. That's cool. So probably about right. It ended up being 3 days, right?
Yes.
So 3 days, 20 plus acts, all doing probably about an hour set. That's quite a bit of entertainment that you're putting out there into the world.
Yes, it was.
So the coolest thing too, if anybody's interested that's listening, is that I believe they're going to reschedule and replay that live stream on the 4th of July weekend coming up. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah. So I had just sort of, I guess, picked an arbitrary goal, a fundraising goal of $1,000, because that just sort of sticks in my head as an amount of money that really makes a difference to an organization like this. So we went in with that being our goal, and we didn't quite meet it. We raised just over $400, which is actually amazing as far as I'm concerned, especially considering this was my first event of this kind. But the Spear TV platform that hosted the live stream wanted to help us out reach our goal, or at least get closer to it. And so, yeah, they offered to replay the streams on the 4th of July weekend, which I actually think is a cool benefit of this live stream technology, is that now you have these video performances and these sets recorded and saved. And so, they're not necessarily one and done. It's not like a bar set where if you don't hit record, you've lost it. You have this set forever, and you can play it out in multiple different avenues and for different reasons and at different times to try and reach your goal and reach the biggest audience possible.
Yeah, that's something that I was just about to say too, that I was thinking about, is you can't replay a concert, right?
Right.
And just the actual investment that you're looking at. There's a definite time investment that you have to make to get all the sets ready, get everything organized, graphics. I know that you even made special flyers for all the artists that were performing on the festival. So some of that stuff can be really time consuming. But as far as the actual monetary investment, when you're looking at a concert, it's very minimal. So if you're trying to raise some money for the homeless shelter, or you're trying to, like the live stream that I have coming up, we're doing 100% of the proceeds are going to 1in10.org, which is a LGBTQ charity here in Arizona to help.
Amazing.
Yeah. So the investment level, I don't have to find a venue. I don't have to pay for a stage. I don't have to pay for equipment or an audio person to run audio. That investment level goes way down. So the opportunity to actually raise some money for charities and stuff like that goes up, which is cool.
Right.
I struggle, though, finding where the opportunity for actual local artists or, statewide artists, stuff like that, where that money comes from. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too, because, I can go out and DJ a couple nights a week at bars and clubs. I'm basically getting paid a certain amount because I'm having people come in, they're spending money at the bar, the bartenders are making money, the venue's making some money, right? So there's kind of that ecosystem where we're sharing, what I'm doing and how I'm entertaining is making them money, that back and forth. With the live streaming, I don't know how that's going to work as much, right? For larger artists, it works perfectly, and they can get sponsors and they can figure all that out. But my kind of focus has always been on smaller, independent, event type artists, musicians, DJs, and how they can make that work for them. So I think that's going to be a big conversation too. Is where's the money at, right? How do you continue making money to keep your lifestyle going, which has been something that has been a huge goal for me, being part of the music industry for a couple decades now. How do you make that work, but still have a family, still have a pretty normal lifestyle, not have to tour all the time? How can you make that work? Because there was always this ecosystem of bars, clubs, people that need to be entertained, especially if you live in a college town, right? And then that doesn't exist right now, and the world's going to change from COVID. I just read something that was saying they're expecting 90% of independent music venues to close down from COVID. So 90% of the venues that were available for that kind of stuff are going to be gone. So then live streaming really is going to take a huge part there. And then we're going to have to figure out how to adapt. That's part of making it as musicians at our level, is just learning how to adapt to figure out what the next thing is. So what, from the festival that you ran, what were the biggest struggles that you ran into? What were the biggest learning points that you might do different next time?
Got it. Let's see. Well, I guess the biggest takeaway that I got was, just how many moving pieces there are behind an event of this nature. Kind of like you mentioned, I did everything myself. So I was acting as the event organizer. I was acting as the promoter. I was acting as the sound and video technician, the social media manager, the graphic designer. And then I was also performing. I had 2 different sets with 2 different acts during the festival as well. So I had to record those sets, do some audio post on the set with the band, get videos ready for everything. So it was really a large amount of work that went into making the whole thing.
Yeah. And I think part of what I am going to focus on with this podcast is trying to teach independent musicians and DJs that one of the most important things that you can do is kind of diversify your skill set.
Right. And that's actually,
if you're only good at one thing, it's not going to get you to the point where you could do something like that. But I know you are one of those people that does live sound at venues, performs in a band, DJs, produces, and does a decent amount of production stuff. So pretty well-rounded when it comes to what you would need to make an event like that happen. And that's really important these days, because those are the skill sets that you need to just pull something like that off. So,
right. Another big obstacle that I guess I encountered with this thing was, you're a DJ, I'm a DJ. I was working with about 20 other DJs, and they were all very much DJs. I tried to, when I got confirmation from an artist that they were interested in the event, I immediately blasted out a little document full of the Gimme Shelter Summer Stream Fest artist requirements, and that included things like, how I wanted people to be sharing and promoting the event on their own end. It had time requirements for the sets. It had file formats and resolution specifications for the sets, and deadlines for submission, so that I wasn't getting overwhelmed with organizing 20 plus DJ sets 2 hours before the event.
Yeah.
And a lot of people came through, and they were very on top of things, and submitted their sets on the deadline that I asked for. A couple people had stuff come up, and they had to submit it a couple days later, but at least they went through the steps of contacting me, explaining there was an issue. So there was nothing wrong with that. And then I had a handful of people that were just typical total DJs about the thing. And, it was 2 days before the event, and they're just like, "Oh man, dude, I haven't submitted anything yet. Can I send you my set tomorrow?" And so that was probably one of the biggest things that made me want to pull my hair out of the whole event, was, asking for people's interest up front, then asking for a confirmation and giving them a month, essentially like 3 weeks, to record a set. And DJs not managing their time very wisely.
Yeah.
And
I think
that turned into a whole thing.
I think that's an extension of what it's always like to throw those kind of events, where half the time when I was doing shows with multiple artists, I almost felt like I was babysitting a little bit, and you have the artist that is supposed to go on in 3 minutes, and they just showed up with their flash drive or their CD or something, and you're like, we don't have a CD, we don't have a CD player. How am I supposed to get the music off of this thing? So I think that is an extension of what it's like to throw a show at that level, but also it's a big deal, because I was looking at just my 1 hour DJ set as a video file, And that's a big fucking file. And if you have 20
Yeah.
something of those files, it's going to take some moving and some planning to even have a way to store all of that, get it all organized into the right order. You know, we're not looking at little tiny files here. We're looking at multiple gigs per file. And that's a lot to get organized. Plus, it takes time to download that. It takes time to do everything and move it around. So I think that's definitely a good learning piece right there. And, you know, I think that's for the next one. You'll probably put some new things in place, or you'll be on people's ass more, or you just won't use artists that are like that. I mean,
I was definitely keeping notes. Yeah.
I've had artists that I thought were super talented that I only used on a couple shows, and I just didn't use them anymore because they just didn't have the level of professionalism that I needed to know that if anybody was paying or even just taking their time to be at a show, then they weren't going to be looking at it as something that was unorganized or last minute. You know, you want it to come off with a certain level of professionalism for anybody that's going to take their time to watch what you're doing.
Right. And it was especially frustrating on my end because, you know, I presented the whole thing through my company, Trask Media. And so my name was very much attached to the entire event. So making the event go off in a professional, timely manner that looked and sounded good, you know, that pointed quite a bit at me and my ability to put this together. And then I was relying heavily on the DJs and the artists to kind of make my life easier in that aspect.
Yeah. And that's the hard part that I've always noticed, and that I think needs work, and always has needed work for the last couple decades almost, when it comes to promoters and artists, and the understanding of what a promoter is doing and what an artist is required to do at the same time. And I think that sometimes promoters, you hear the stories all the time, they're just taking advantage of artists, right? And they're hiding away that little squirrel's nest, and they're just shady. That's something that sucks. But on the other end, I've done shows where I actually paid money to throw the show out of my own pocket, and then I was relying on the artists to work their ass off to get people there, help me. You know, I'm going to get as many people there as I can, but I need the artists to help out with that aspect of it as well, and make sure that they have everything organized before the show and stuff like that. So that's an awesome thing that we should probably do an episode on the podcast about. Is if you're a DJ or you're an artist just starting off and just coming up, remember that when you're at that base to mid level of shows that you're performing at, a lot of times the people that are throwing those shows are putting their ass on the line every time that they're doing it. So
yes,
come through, do your things on time, make sure that you have that level of professionalism that's required, and no matter what, you're going to get more shows based off of that. You know, and your music will keep getting better and better, but sometimes that's as important as the music that you're playing when it comes to getting more shows. Just because
totally.
people know that you're going to do a good job. So what would you say that you would replicate? What do you think went really well with the way that the festival was put together, and you're like, cool, if I did this again, I'm definitely going to do that?
Got it. Well, first off, I think having the sitting down and creating that document of artist requirements and how you wanted to be things to be formatted. That was super helpful, because I know, like, I talked a lot of shit on some of the DJs, but a lot of them were absolutely amazing, and they came through and they fulfilled literally everything that I asked. Shout out to Chad Rinsler. If you happen to be listening out there, dude, you killed it. So I think that document was very helpful, especially in laying the groundwork and just knowing that when I would receive submissions or files from a DJ, that they would be like in a certain format, or they would be here by a certain date. That was super helpful. So that was definitely one thing that I will keep going forward. You also mentioned that I took the time to make custom graphics to announce every artist that was playing on the fest. I thought that kind of built up a good level of engagement, as long as, little caveat, as long as the DJs were doing their due diligence and sharing and promoting those posts as well. I thought it was a cool thing. It drove some traffic to the event page, and I think it kind of made it seem more like an event instead of just like a little pop-up thing, like, hey, these guys are announcing stuff like weeks ahead of time. They're putting time into it, is kind of how I saw that whole bit.
Yeah,
so
that gives them an awesome piece of collateral that they can use to promote too. Like if I have the actual event graphics and everything, but it's got my logo and it shows I'm going to be there, it's way easier for me to get my fans or followers to come to that show or to come to that live stream than it is if it's just a flyer with a whole bunch of names on it. Like, nobody's going to search through and be like, oh, there he is. Or I've even had times where I open for a pretty large scale artist, but the people that were my fans had no idea who they were. And they're like, are you even at this? I don't see your name on the flyer. Yeah, I'm opening for this big artist. And they're like, I don't even know who that is. Right? So it's good to be able to have that extra flyer, because then I could throw up both flyers. So the people that do know who I'm opening for, or do know other acts that are going to be on the event, are going to be like, oh, cool, I'm going to go to that because I like this DJ and I like this band. But they also know I'm going to be there, and I have that for the people that might not even care. They just want to see me perform, which is going to happen for anybody, right? You have a certain amount of people that probably, I mean, in all honesty, I have people that would come watch me at an event that don't even like the style of music that I would play. They just want to be there to support, right? So I think that that's a normal thing to happen. So I think that was awesome. I agree with you. Doing the flyers for everybody, that was awesome. I'm sure it takes a lot of time, but I think it pays off in the end.
Totally.
How about, what do you think that you did was just too much work, and you think you could do it some other way more efficiently, and you're probably going to change the way that you do that the next
time?
Got
it. Let's see. I had a real problem getting so all those graphics, that was I probably almost made like 30 or 40 different pieces of graphics or different visual media for the event, and I really should have taken the time to just take 1 or 2 days and just pound all that out ahead of time. And then, be able to use like the Facebook scheduling feature to schedule all the events out, for weeks, or schedule all the posts out, over the next couple weeks. So that way it would just be one large time commitment instead of like 8 different medium time commitments that I ended up spending, like every couple days, like, oh, we're about to run out of scheduled posts. I gotta go make more. But part of that kind of rolls back into the professionalism of some of the DJs, is that people were confirmed and I was wanting to announce them, but they had been radio silent for days or weeks and, hadn't submitted a set. So I didn't want to take time to create a graphic for someone that wasn't going to be there and wasn't putting in the work. It was a lot of time out of my personal life to put this all together. So I really wanted to make sure that I was focusing my energy towards the acts that were actually going to show up and perform.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's another thing that for hopefully any independent musicians, DJs that are out there that might be listening, a show and a live stream are exactly the same. Don't fucking sign up for a show or a live stream without knowing you're going to put that effort in that needs to be there, right? That's your name on the line too. And that's the name of the company or the promoter throwing it. So I think that's another learning point right there, right? It's important. Anytime that you say you're going to do something. I've had events where we get to the club and it's dead, right? There's only a couple people there. And I'll have people bugging myself or my wife like, oh, just throw something on and come hang out at the bar with us. And every time it's like,
No.
no, my name is on the line here. It doesn't matter how many people are here. If I can get 2 of these people to come back next time, then I'm building a momentum. If I show that I'm professional and that I'm here for a reason, I don't give a shit if anybody's in the club, right? My name is on the line. I'm there to do everything I can to try to get people off the street to come in, right? To get people to come in. So I think for a live stream, if you look at that in a different way, you're putting your name on that event. So then you're not pulling people off the street, but you are pulling people to get excited about the event, get excited about the other artists. If you can get 2 people to come and watch 5 of those other acts, then that's a huge difference. If every one of those 20-something artists does that.
Exactly.
And hopefully it's going to be a lot more than 2 people, but that makes a difference every time. Just that little extra bit of work on top. So that, that's a good takeaway for anybody out there that might just be starting up, that's looking at just starting to perform, just starting to do live streams and stuff like that. Always has to be approached as if it is a huge deal, because it is, no matter what. If one person is there, what you show that one person is a huge deal, because it could change how many people come to the next thing that you do. So let's talk about how we can figure out as artists and DJs to make money off of a live stream. It's not all about making a ton of money. But we were just talking about how it costs a lot less to live stream than it does if you already have the equipment, which every DJ should already have a computer, should already have a controller, right? Then you have the equipment to do it. But what are some ways and some thoughts that you can put into how to make money that's going to be different? Like, you can't just show up once a week and play like you do at a bar or at a club. You can't just do like your wedding that you play every weekend. And for bands, it's the same thing as for a DJ. So what are some ways that you've been thinking of? And I'll put in some ways that I've been thinking of as well, or some important aspects to it, to try to monetize it a little bit, to get you got to get some money back for all that time that you're putting into it.
Totally. So yeah, like a lot of DJs, their dream or their goal is to support themselves via DJing. And so we live in America, and supporting yourself requires an amount of money. And DJs are putting a lot of time and effort and, creativity into these events, and they deserve to be compensated as such. So one thing that I'm pretty sure we've all seen on any DJ live stream so far, any band's live stream, is, the Cash App or the PayPal or the Venmo link as a tip jar. And while I'm sure that brings in a little bit of money, it's probably just from your parents. Let's be honest. There's probably not that many
huge
people.
Fans, right? I mean, for some mid-level DJs, they're gonna have some fans. They're gonna throw some money in there, but it's not gonna be something that's sustainable, I don't think.
Right, and so you got to learn to walk before you can run. So I kind of see this as sort of a similar aspect. So to me, it just kind of, like, I get it, I understand it. I've done it on a couple of my streams. But I'm kind of getting to the point where that seems a little bit grovelly, a little bit needy. It to me, it makes you instead of like a act at a venue or a bar or something like that, it kind of turns you into the internet equivalent of a street busker, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I imagine not many of those people are supporting themselves in the way they would like to. Yeah. So how do you monetize that going forward? And then this will probably also kind of touch on the issue of like copyright and streams being taken down. So really, after talking to the guy that owns Spear TV, which was the service that hosted it, and kind of picking his brain on the same sort of vision, I think that maybe like a small paywall is probably in the future for a lot of these events. Or maybe do free live streams for a while, but then you have like one big live stream with like crazy production or something that's essentially a ticketed event. And the cool thing about that is that, like we were talking about how virtual streams have no capacity limit. So instead of you trying to sell a $10 cover at the door, and you get 10 people in the door to pay $10, you get $100. Online, that barrier to entry is kind of shifted. Like there's no physical venue, there's no sense of that community belonging. So people might be a little bit opposed to pay $10 to go into your live stream. But if you've been showing up and doing this, and you've proven to enough people that your quality and professionalism is there, I don't see it being unrealistic to charge, $1 or $2 to get into a special event live stream. And then instead of getting, 10 people at $10, you could get 100 people, 200 people in at $1 or $2. And by using more volume and less upfront costs, you can get those larger numbers that you might be looking for without that large, that some people would consider, investment of, like, say, a door cover.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one awesome thing, first off, what you were saying about consistency, I think from all the trainings I've been doing and research I've been doing, that's the key, right? Is the consistency part of it. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But when I'm live streaming now, I use Mixcloud because I've always liked Mixcloud to put my DJ mixes up. They finally got it cleared so that it's all copyright. You don't have to worry about your stream getting taken down. So that's big for me. It's really easy to get to your stream and all of that. So awesome. I use Mixcloud and I love it. Now, they've also set it up where you can have subscribers to your Mixcloud, and you can set just a monthly rate between about $2 to $5 a month that people pay to be a subscriber or of your Mixcloud account. Which there's some Mixcloud accounts that are amazing and have been doing live DJ mixes every week or multiple every week for decades now. That it switched from where they were doing it maybe on the radio or something like that, and they switched into Mixcloud. Now, one thing I was thinking is, so all of those special live streams, you not only are you going to have the live stream, you're going to put it so that only your subscribers on Mixcloud are going to get access to all of those. So if they miss them or anything like that, they get access to them because they're a subscriber too. And now you have a little bit of a revenue stream there from how many you have subscribing to your Mixcloud. So that's an opportunity. Then also you can take, you can put up a Venmo or something like that. People can tip you while you're doing your live stream. That's awesome too. Now, you better be giving them something that's worth it, though. And that's the other part, is like just to stand there and play on your DJ controller a whole bunch of music that they could get anywhere. That might not be something that somebody wants to pay money for. But if you're finding special mixes, you're doing your own mashups, you're doing your own remixes, and you're coming up with these really cool DJ sets that incorporate some music that's mainstream, but maybe some stuff that people aren't going to hear unless they're on those live streams. Now you're giving a reason that maybe they would want to pay a couple bucks to be in something like that. So I think that that's another way to look at it. And then for the consistency aspect, I think in order to get people's trust, in order for people to know that they like what you do, you can't just be streaming or putting up mixes every couple months. You have to be consistently having stuff available and having content available online so that they can see what you do, what you're good at. And then you're going to have people that like it. And maybe they like it enough that if you do throw a little bit of a special live stream or something larger, then they're going to come support it. And it's that consistency part that is key with the online market. I mean, even from the music distribution aspect, with a lot of the production stuff that I've been working on lately, people are saying, don't release full albums anymore, right? Release
what's
a whole bunch of songs often because people don't have to buy albums anymore. They can just go stream songs, and they're going to just stream the songs they like off the album anyways. So having that consistent release structure is really important. It's something I'm trying to get better at, to be consistently releasing DJ mixes, consistently have live streams, consistently doing stuff like this with the podcast. So I think that's super important to even build it to the point where you can start making money. But I think it's also important to have something in your live stream that's going to make it worth people investing in it. You know, people are going to invest in you because they like you, and people are going to invest in you because you give them something that they can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, and there's and so if I could go back to the monetization thing, and this will all sort of link in actually a little bit. So I've been taking this free, no one laugh at me, I've been taking this free Tony Robbins course that he's been doing on Facebook Live the past couple days.
Banana hands.
And but actually I was also sort of, you know, he obviously is very successful, he has a lot of money, so I've been kind of peeking behind the scenes as they cut around the different camera views and seeing how he has his live stream studio set up. And one of the cool things that he's done to try and monetize his live stream, which I would definitely foresee coming down the pipe for DJs and musicians in the near future, is that, you know, say he has like, where we're talking about monetizing it. So he basically sold, it's for free on Facebook Live. You know, you could go there if you want. Or he sold VIP tickets to a Zoom call to the same event. And he's got like 3 or 4 TVs up on the wall in front of him where all the VIP people can Zoom call in, and then he can see all of their faces on the wall in front of him. So he actually is getting to talk and interact with a crowd in real time during his event, as well as monetize his free live stream for the people that are interested in, you know, taking it to that next level, showing that next level bit of support. So I think that was a really cool and interesting way to go about it, because as you mentioned not too long ago, a lot of these DJs live sets are just people standing in front of a controller. And if you're a DJ listening to this and you're doing a live stream, work your damn microphone and move around. Be fun. Like, nobody wants to watch you stand there and do nothing for an hour and a half or however long your stream is. You got to be, imagine it is a bar gig. Imagine you're at a show, because that's really what it is that you're trying to put on. Especially if, you know, no knock against DJs that are just starting to get into it. But if you don't have a green screen or any sort of visual component or anything that you've added to your live stream to bring the quality level up that little extra bit, then it literally is just you standing in front of a wall performing. And even if your set is killer, it's being presented as an audio and visual experience through the live stream. And so that visual experience has to be on point. People have to want to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got to be engaging more than maybe even a regular club or set or something would be, because you have to be drawing them in. I've been trying to do that and jump on the mic and just act like I'm at a club and I'm talking to the audience. I think that's a good way to go with it. And then also, I think that there's a lot of visual aspects to live DJ sets that are going to be perfect for some genres and not as maybe. I think for the open format style of what I do, I prefer it to be a little bit more intimate and not a whole bunch of lights flying all over the place and like you're in a club kind of thing, right? And more about the interaction with the crowd and dancing around and stuff. But there's other genres that, you know, if you can get some cool visuals up, you can get some cool lights moving around, then it does kind of engage people a little bit more.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be like visuals or flashy lights. It could be something. So we'll take your set, for instance. I was talking to the Spear TV owner, and he said that your set at the end of Saturday night was his favorite set of the weekend, because you had the various camera angles, that you were bouncing around between. People could see you singing along. People could watch your hands for a little bit, actually see you mixing. And then you were getting on the microphone and you were moving around. You weren't just standing there with your head down, staring at your controller for an hour. You were dancing, you were getting into the performance. And even if there were no flashy like VJ visuals or anything crazy like that, it was still fun. Like you could feel the fun coming out of your set. And from what I've heard, it really went over well with quite a few people.
That's awesome. I have been trying to get better at that because, to be honest, a lot of times I'm the type of DJ that really focuses on being all into what I'm doing, making sure the mixes are perfect. I sometimes will like switch mixes 5 times because I'm watching the crowd and I'm like, oh no, that song's not next. This song, no, this song next, right? So I'm always doing a whole bunch of stuff. Well, with a live stream, I don't have to worry about some of that stuff as much. So I can maybe spend a little bit more time dancing around and stuff like that. And I think that's cool. And that's how you have to do it for a live stream, because what else is interesting? People aren't necessarily going to be just sitting around having drinks at the bar talking while your live stream is on. Now that's possible, right? It could be happening. But another thing I was going to say is I'm a big club and bar DJ and have been for a long time. So I did a live stream for Cinco de Mayo and I was taking shots of tequila up against the camera with everybody. We were there together taking that shot together. Everybody get your shots ready and let's, I'm going to take one with you. Doing stuff like that can be a little bit more engaging too. But there's a lot of stuff I can get way better at, just getting used to it, getting used to DJing alone in this room, but thinking of everybody that you are playing for at that period. And that what you were saying about putting the Zoom call with everybody up on a screen, that's awesome. But one of the next things I have on my notes here that I was going to bring up was, how can we recreate a concert environment in a live stream? The chat is really important. Actually, when I went live on Cinco de Mayo, I had my wife run the chat the whole time because I can't do it while I'm DJing. But that was cool because she could interact with everybody, keep it really exciting in the chat while I'm DJing. And then, but doing something like that with a Zoom call where everybody can see each other too, that's really important. I think that's the next level of, you want to be able to see who else is there, and that does drive the energy a little bit more. If you look over and you're like, oh man, there's somebody over in the UK, they're all at a house party dancing, you're gonna get energy naturally. Man, we should have some fun. Let's go grab a beer. Let's order a pizza, something like that, just to have a little bit more engagement while it's going on. So that is the awesome idea. I really like that, and I hadn't seen that done in that way before. That's really cool. A lot of mobile DJs already have TVs for their events. Just get those TVs stands or something like that, and get the Zoom call up on there so you can see, the crowd can see that they're right in the room with you at the same time.
Yes, and it is all about kind of what you were mentioning. How do we create that concert or that event experience at home? Because right now it's everyone's learning, so this is not a knock against anyone at all. This is just observations on how we move forward and improve. But the interaction is obviously very one-sided. It's the DJ beaming through the internet, through your TV and your speakers into your living room. So the DJ is giving the watchers and the listeners energy, but there's none of that reciprocation. There's none of that energy coming back. There's none of that feeling of being in a bar with a bunch of other people, that the live venue really gives you. So that, how do we take that concert level or that concert experience and make it, is super important. And there's a million ideas on different ways you could do it. That Zoom call is one great idea that I've seen. I've also talked to a couple people who have even thought of, selling, say, partnering with a local business. Say we've got Fratelli Pizza here in town, right? So if, say, you sell like VIP pre-sale tickets to one of your events, And so that at the time of the event, you get a pizza delivered to your house or something like that, or some sort of, EDC style merch box for like maybe some of the bigger ones, some sort of physical thing that you can get at your house that everyone else in that event is also getting, so that you're creating that sense of community and that sense of like, oh, hey, we're all here at the same event.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't tell you how many concerts I've been to where you get there and you're like, I'm not going to get a t-shirt. We're not going to do anything this time. And then you see somebody walking around with the band t-shirt on. You're like, oh, shit, they got good t-shirts this year. Right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're at the merch bar grabbing a whole bunch of shit. So I think that too, if you maybe got a t-shirt for the event, this is for something where people are paying for a VIP ticket, right? They get a t-shirt that they can wear during the live stream. Everybody during the live stream is on that Zoom call seeing all these other people wearing the t-shirt. Well, man, how do I get that t-shirt? Right? And then you throw that in the chat. Anybody that's saw the t-shirts, here's the link where you can get them. Now you're talking about monetization, but also that's part of the memory of being there. And that's the coolest part of concerts is like a lot of concerts,
it's that group attitude, the group experience.
Yeah, that I mean, especially in my generation, that was the biggest thing. Oh, you weren't at that Rage Against the Machine concert? I was there. It sucks to suck, right?
Basically.
Yeah, so I think that's also another part of figuring out how to build that up, and that's going to be important to try to figure out. Now, on the base level, maybe you can't afford to get a whole bunch of t-shirts, but you could definitely afford something cool. Maybe something individualized to everybody. If they get a VIP ticket, then you're going to send them your new song that you recorded with a handwritten note from you. And I just burped while I was talking. That's awesome.
That's
you're
all
going
right.
to send them a handwritten note from you with the song that you just produced, free download or something like that. So there's lots of different things that you can look at. And I think in the future, I think live streaming is going to be such an important part of everything going on that I would love to have you come back and maybe we could focus a little bit more in depth on those separate parts of live streaming and maybe give people some good ideas on how they can monetize their live stream or get more engagement from the crowd while they're live streaming and give them some more ideas. Cool. Well, I think we have hit our time. That was an awesome conversation. I think live streaming is going to be such a huge part of the future of entertainment. And as DJs and as musicians, and especially independent musicians, we have to figure out how to utilize live streams. But also, it's not all about us when it comes to stuff like that. How do we actually make it something that's worth it for people that are going to come and watch it? Right. And so, you can't just think, I just want a whole bunch of people to come watch me play these songs. You got to figure out how can you make it an experience for people to be there. So I think with the festival, some of the stuff you did with the graphics in between the artists and stuff like that was awesome too. And I think that that's another great way to build that engagement. And in the future, maybe even build some sponsorships and stuff that can help with the event as well.
Right. Yeah, it went well, and I'd definitely like to make it a recurring thing. So there's a lot of options and avenues that I can look at moving forward on how to make it more of a group experience.
Yeah, for sure. And what is the name of your company that threw the live stream?
Trask Media, Trask Media.
Awesome. So if you guys are listening and interested or just have some questions, you can always hit me up. All the information is on my site. You can go right to firstdropmusic.com. If you're interested in a live stream, hit Trask up, Trask Media. What was the company again that you guys used to do the live stream?
Oh, yeah, that was Spear TV, SPEIR.TV. And they are a in-state, locally owned streaming back-end service. They're based out of Phoenix. And yeah, they've got a bunch of really cool connections and a cool service that helps make everything possible.
And they've got a way to make it so it's not going to get taken down. They've got a cool site. Was it pretty easy to use and get everything set up?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to pretty much have a personal introduction through my friend Josh Schulteis, aka VJ Face Melter. And yeah, he put us in contact. They basically just set up the site and the stream key. And, you know, I had to send him a few assets and whatnot so he could theme the page for the event. And other than that, I was able to run all the video and everything out of my house.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that was spear.tv. And that's, spell that for me one more time.
SPEIR.
.tv. So if you guys are interested in starting to get your own live streams together, that's a cool company that you guys can contact to do that as well. Thank you guys so much for listening to From the First Drop. My name is Bear Cole. Thank you, Trask, for being here.
Thank you.
And you guys have a great one. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for listening to From the First Drop. My name is Bear Cole. If you want to learn more, just look up First Drop Music anywhere you go online. That's one ST Drop DROP Music. Look it up. FirstDropMusic.com, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you go online. We're going to bring you more about independent music, music distribution, how to be a DJ, mobile DJing, and just music in general. I hope you guys come back to listen to more. We're out. Peace.